Welcome into our post-game wrap-up of the Clemson loss to Penn State this afternoon in the Pinstripe Bowl at Yankee Stadium in New York. Final score of 22-10. Disappointing finish to a disappointing season for the Tigers, who finish up at 7-6. They see their 4-game winning streak go by the boards here this afternoon. It was a cold day. The temperatures in the mid to upper 20s. It was snowing in the earlier part of the game. The snow was very light. And then it ended as the game moved on. But the Tigers were cold on offense out there this afternoon. Really could not get much going the entire day consistently on offense. They finished with only 236 yards on 65 snaps. They weren't able to hit many big balls down the field, not too many big plays down the field. Cade Klubnik did have one 44-yard completion, but outside of that, not much big down the field for the Tigers in the passing game, and then only 43 rushing yards against that Penn State defense, which had lost a lot of key players after the regular season. So not a good performance at all by the Clemson offense this afternoon. 4 sacks hurt as well, and set them back a number of drops. Dabo Swinney said he stopped counting after 7 drops by his receivers. So obviously it was 7 or more drops. Some untimely penalties hurt on drives as well. So just a very uneven performance by Clemson. A lot of swing passes, short passes to the sideline, things that you've seen all season long from this Clemson offense that has Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator, in question as to whether or not he will be back next season. But still, despite all the issues, this was a 9-3 game going to the fourth quarter, despite the fact that Clemson only had 1 possession for 8 plays in the third quarter. Penn State had 1 long possession in the third quarter, and then Clemson had its possession. Neither one produced points, and then Penn State took over in the third quarter, ran out the rest of the quarter, kicked a field goal to start the fourth quarter. It's still a 9-3 game at that point if Clemson could get something going offensively. But Penn State went down and scored a touchdown to go up 15-3 after missing on a 2-point conversion. Clemson did respond, maybe their best offensive performance of the day. They did respond with a nice drive of 10 plays, 65 yards. Randall ran in from 2 yards out. Klubnik hit 5 of 6 passes on the drive. Sort of came together. That made it 15-10. But when the Tigers needed to get a stop on defense to get the ball back, to have a chance to go ahead, they could not get the stop on the next possession. Penn State goes down the field for a long touchdown drive, 8 plays, 75 yards, and they score on an 11-yard touchdown pass. So Penn State kind of got their offense going and put some points on the board with field goals and a couple of touchdowns, and Clemson just wasn't able to match. That made it a 22-10 game, and with only just under 5 minutes left, it was pretty much it for the Tigers. The last possession for them, the last play for Cade Klubnik in a Clemson uniform, ended with Klubnik being sacked. So they did not have a real good chance to get in the end zone there at the end. Clemson finishes with 236 total yards to 397 for Penn State. And Klubnik in his last game was 22 of 39, but for only 193 yards. He was sacked 4 times. T.J. Moore had a good game. He had 6 catches for 83 yards, including that long catch of 44 yards where he made a nice catch and a nice run afterwards. You have to give Penn State credit. Their offense looked good. They didn't seem to be affected by the weather. Neither did Clemson, really. But Penn State just seemed to find its offense better than Clemson did. Their quarterback, Grunkmeyer, was 22 of 34 for 262 yards. He had 2 touchdowns. Ross caught 8 passes for 84 yards. Pena was the game MVP. He had 5 catches for 100 yards, including that long touchdown catch of 73 yards where he caught a pass. This is when Penn State went up 15-3 early in the fourth quarter. He catches a pass. 2 Clemson defenders come in on him, but they collide, Gibson and Jones, and they bounce off each other. They lose him, and he goes the rest of the way for the touchdown. So that was a kind of a back-breaking play there. So 397 yards total offense for Penn State today, and I thought Grunkenmeyer, he looked very poised and very good at quarterback, and they've got a quarterback to build on there with their new coaching staff. And Quentin Martin went over 100 yards rushing. He's like the number 3 running back because the top 2 didn't play. 101 yards rushing. So Penn State, more balanced, 135 yards on the ground and 262 through the air. Clemson 43 on the ground, 236 total offense for Clemson. So sacks hurt, drops hurt. Heck, even on the Tigers' first possession of the game, they had to punt, and Jack Smith, the punter, he audibled into a fake. He was going to throw a deep pass to Ronan Hannafin, but nobody knew that he had checked the play into the fake, and it went incomplete. Fortunately for Clemson, the defense rose up and only gave up 3 points, but that could have been a disaster. But it was kind of a sign of things to come for the afternoon for the Tigers. So this season is over for Clemson. Now the offseason begins with the transfers going out and the transfers coming in. And what will Dabo Swinney do about his coaching staff? There's a lot of speculation that he will make several changes there in the days to come. But for this year, 2025, Dabo Swinney was hoping to call it the greatest turnaround in Clemson history after the bad start. He hoped to have a very strong finish with 5 straight wins. It wasn't going to happen here in the wintry conditions in New York City as the Tigers fall to Penn State 22-10 to finish the season at 7-6. Look forward to talking with you about it on Sports Talk Monday nights. Otherwise, that concludes the college football season for us in South Carolina. Thanks for being with us every weekend somewhere with Clemson or South Carolina. Look forward to bringing it to you once again in 2026. Have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you Monday night on Sports Talk.